started getting reports about a big system moving our way for snow and ice and very, very, very cold weather. Colder than we ever see it here in the South. If you watched my previous video, you would know that we did see some snow already, more than we usually get, and it was very exciting. However, this new storm that was coming in was a little less exciting. We didn't know how much snow we would actually get, and we're more concerned for ice, power outages, busted pipes, all of the things that come with that. The temperatures were supposed to drop well below zero into the negatives, and so we had to prepare all of our farm animals for that. So this entire week was spent preparing for all of that to be snowed in, or iced in rather, however long, and to be able to keep ourselves warm and our animals warm and everybody safe in the middle of a winter storm that we weren't quite so used to seeing. As we all do in the winter, we spent the week also preparing cozy meals and taking on projects in the house. The first meal that I made was chicken and noodles. I've made this on a video before. I make it somewhat often in our house, and it really is very simple. I just use a simple recipe. It actually calls for cream of chicken, but I make my own by making a roux with butter and flour, adding half cream, half of the chicken broth that I make from cooking the chicken, and then just adding some garlic powder and some onion powder, salt, pepper, things like that to create a cream of chicken soup. I add that back into the chicken that has more broth already in it, and then add my noodles and let it cook. I do this in the crock pot sometimes, like I did here, and sometimes I do it on the stove. I also decided that for some winter projects, the first place I was going to start would be in the kitchen with some kitchen cabinets. I had some clutter accumulating because the way that the cabinets were organized just wasn't quite working. So I cleaned out this cabinet to start. I have a few more I'm still slowly getting through, but I cleaned this one out and organized all of our large jars on the bottom shelf, smaller jars and lids on the top shelf, and then up in the top cabinet, all of my glass Tupperware, if you will, glass storage containers. And then in the very top cabinet that is a little bit difficult for me to reach, I put any plastic storage containers. So I have some for eggs and some for ice cream that I like to use, and so I just moved that up there. I love to do these organizing projects in the colder months because I really don't want to go outside anyway. There's not as much to do outside, and so it is just a lot easier to get them done during the winter months. Plus, after the new year, I am ready to go through my entire house, and so that is what I have slowly been doing. After cooking so much and with all of the holidays, I like to just give the house a little spruce, especially the kitchen, because this was well used during the holidays, and fix it back up before cannon season comes. Pretty much all that I show in this video preparing was the chickens, because that is the role that I played. The chickens are in the barn right behind our house. We were all kind of working outside together at this point, and I tend to all of our laying hens, and then we have a pet bunny for Isla in here that we tended to. Now Jackie, you can't be making all that noise, boy. The baby is in here with me. I don't know if you can hear him or not, but he is getting a little bit fussy, so I apologize for that. This barn is fairly low maintenance. It's not as clean as some people probably keep their chicken barns. It doesn't have a fancy chandelier, and it doesn't have any fancy wallpaper. It's very rustic, and that is the way I like it. I cannot go out there and clean out the chicken barn to make it spotless all the time. So it is a chicken barn, it is what it is, but it's fairly low maintenance. It's a dirt floor, so every little bit I go in there and I will scoop out the bedding and sprinkle that in the garden, and then the same thing with the floor. I can scoop up any drop-ins and go put that in the garden, and that makes it fairly easy and benefits my garden as well. Now, I normally don't keep a heat lamp in here. I actually am really tired of this heat lamp, and if the temperatures weren't gonna be in the negatives, I wouldn't even have a heat lamp out here. Down to like 0 degrees, my chickens do really well, but with the rare temperatures we were gonna have, I opted to put a heat lamp out here. It makes me very nervous, and I don't like to have it out there, but it has been just fine. I go and check on it constantly, and they really don't even use it that much, to be honest. I could probably take it out and they would be mostly fine. Chickens are pretty good at adapting that way, and so anyway, we have one out there. I'm not loving it, but it is keeping my hens safe and healthy, so that's what matters. I don't know what kind of foods y'all eat where you're from, but here where I'm from, we eat a lot of fried greens. Cabbage, mustard greens, turnip greens, almost anything. You cook it up in some bacon grease and some butter, and we are very happy. And so I cook up fried cabbage at least weekly, if not multiple times a week. And so that is what I was having for lunch on this day. Now, not very many people in my house will eat this. Both of my parents will eat any kind of fried greens like this. My husband will not, unless it has lots of eggs and cheese in it, which we do also. I grew up on greens and eggs, and he likes to put cheese, so he will eat that. But something like this, he won't eat. My daughter, she won't really eat it. But that's okay. So it makes for an easy lunch for Mama. for supper, my daughter wanted to help, and so I pulled her up a chair and she helps me out. On this night we were having chicken pot pie. This is another thing I've shown on here before. I make it probably once a week, maybe. It's one of our family's favorite things to eat. And so fried potatoes, carrots, and usually peas. This day I did not have any peas, which I can't even believe I ran out. But it was delicious nonetheless. And so we just fry up our vegetables, get them nice and soft, add some flour and parsley and garlic and salt and pepper. Let that kind of cook for a minute. And then we add in lots of cream and some broth. Let it thicken and add it to a pie shell. That is my family's idea of a cozy winter supper. I've shared that I like to involve my kids as much as I can in the kitchen, which for now is just Isla Dawn, but she helps me. When I'm cutting stuff, she can carefully put it into whatever frying pan or pot that we're gonna be cooking in, and she dumps any flour, she'll measure that out, or spices or whatever, and mix things up. She loves to be in the kitchen, so I love to encourage it. Plus, it's a good little mother-daughter moment. We get to spend a little one-on-one time, especially now that we have Mr. Jack in the family. She doesn't get quite as much time by herself with my husband or I, so this just works well. I can focus on her while Keith has the baby, and she gets some one-on-one time doing something that she really, really loves. Now we'd love for you to join us in the kitchen, so let's get finished making this pot pie for supper. probably buried on her thing. Oh, let's do that a little bit. Even though it probably looks like it a lot on here, I really don't make a ton of desserts, maybe once a week or less. But on this night, I was craving some chocolate, and so the easiest thing to whip up were some good old-fashioned no-bake cookies. I don't know, again, falling back to the I don't know what y'all eat where you're from, but our entire community loves these cookies. It is so funny. When we have our holiday market right before Thanksgiving, people stock up on these, and so we always sell out of these first, no matter how many we make. And so on this night, we all kind of needed a little pick-me-up, and so Mama made some cookies, and they were gone very, very quickly. I took some over to my parents' house. They are mostly naturally gluten-free, if you get the right oats, and so they can eat them as well, and it is one of our family's favorites. So that's what I worked on while the pot pie baked. If you are new, I invite you to subscribe. I share here weekly, and I love sharing the everyday beauty in our farmhouse here in the country. Thanks for stopping by.